Oh, hello there. At the end of 2023, in November-ish, I wanted to actually start climbing and improving in this game. I gave myself a goal that I wanted to get to master. Then I realized I'm setting a too high goal for myself and lowered it to diamond, which I felt I could probably get away with before the new year starts. I did not. I got the plat and I'm still stuck there. This is fine, since the journey has been enjoyable and I don't plan on stopping quite yet. Essentially, I'll be rambling through some of my experiences of starting a fighting game and climbing up the ranks. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, it'll be as basic. Fighting games are a strange beast in the competitive gaming market. When you take out the little RNG you have, it's just you versus that other guy over there, in this limited square with moving background. Whatever happens, it's up to you to beat them. You can't rely on someone else to cover for you, and you certainly can't blame someone else if you lose, or hope that you can top deck your answer. Very unlike the typical competitive games. This can make it a lot more stressful if you're doubling down on being your own worst critic. But it also makes any progress and improvement more rewarding when you do succeed, I feel. Anyway, moving on. It was really odd transitioning from hitting the training dummy or doing combo trials to fighting an actual person. Why the fuck are they hitting me back? How am I supposed to do this 7-step combo from the trials when this guy won't stand still? Why can they hit me and I can't hit them? Okay, maybe I'm not the god I thought I was. I know it seems obvious, but the last thing you're thinking of in the lab and trials is if this pretty dang good combo is realistic when you're just testing stuff. Oh, you got in! You're hitting that bad boy during your combo? But that's not what you meant to do, right? Oh, you wanted to press a motion input, but it didn't come out? Did that make you upset? I bet it did. Well, I'm sure nothing like that will happen again, at least. Okay, no, what the fuck was that? Oh, you wanted to do a simple medium kick, but you were holding forward, and it's a different whole attack now. We call this fucking up your inputs, and it'll be so common you'll question if your fingers are working or if there are too many shit stains on your controller. So you chap and poke at your opponent while trying to get a combo in, and they do it back. But some opponents seem to be gods at this. Like, they for some reason can just keep going. You try to press your fastest attack, but it either doesn't reach or they react to it a lot faster and immediately retaliate and keep you blocking for what feels like forever. That's so unfair. How do we fix all of these problems? Footsies, whiffing buttons, turn stealing? You won't. You just get better. This is literally the game. You want to open up your opponent, so you have to learn how to footsies. That, or how to bypass it. You won't fight a person who doesn't fuck up their button presses, but you want to practice to the point where you do it a lot less. You always want it to be your turn, so the opponent has to react to you. That's fighting games simplified. Everything you have to deal with at the lower ranks, you probably have to deal with at the higher ranks. Well, that's my experience anyway, and my future prediction as I keep going. So it's clear that fighting games can be frustrating for new players, though it can be a lot about your mindset and expectations. Yet there's a lot of enjoyment to be had in them, since improving on the things that frustrate you should feel nice, right? I enjoy solving the puzzle that is the opposite player. Or in other words, making the read, or downloading the opponent. If I do this here, he will counter with this, which means I can do some damage. Winning can be rewarding, but for me what led to a win is much more enjoyable. I have many issues I'm working on, but I think the main issue I have is anti-airing. And whenever I have a match where I succeed in stopping the opponent from freely jumping in, I know I'm moving forward and improving, which brings me joy. I enjoy getting better, but the game can be, and is, very complicated, and there's a lot to remember before it becomes just second nature. Which was no different for me, as the game felt immensely overwhelming, and still is in some aspects. How I remedied that was to throw most of my characters, Jamie's kit, away to lessen the burden. I wanted to understand the basics like matchups and footsies first. This is my main combo. Simple jab jab, we go drinking. This is my punish combo, aka when you have the freedom of doing the big damage. Very basic, but I chose simplicity since you can always learn new and better combos later. Not horrible, not amazing. In terms of Jamie's strengths, I will only think about what I gain at level 1 and 2. Anything above that is a damage boost. This is still mostly where I'm at, to be honest. I will not think too hard about command normals. Which also meant I didn't really use an overhead attack for a long time. Really bad in hindsight. Supers, I'll add him in later. This part did not take too long realistically, but it's still only something I will comfortably do if I use Bakai or if I land a DI and do a raw super 3. Using any of them as a counter is non-existent for me. I will not bother with drive rushing. It felt complicated. In hindsight, I should have started using drive rush cancels a lot earlier. Even if it was just for an extra attack. Just to get used to it. I won't use the DP motion, because I couldn't do it even in training and it was driving me crazy. Not the right mindset if the motion is central to your character, like playing Ken or Ryu's Dragon Punch. For Jamie, it's sometimes the better option over some other moves for damage, but realistically I would only use it for invincible reversals and anti-airing, so I felt like I could leave it. In hindsight, I should have kept practicing it anyway, since it's the invincible reversal option for Jamie, and those are immensely valuable. Not every character has those. And with that, I had neutered my character. It was a straw man that should never bask in the sun. But I succeeded. I got comfortable with playing the game. I wasn't a new upcoming pro player, but I was enjoying it. The game began to be less overwhelming, and I started succeeding in pressing the buttons in the order I wanted to a lot more, which became very satisfying. Having less options made reacting to what I needed to do more straightforward and not lead into the indecision as often. With this now the norm, I started to think about what I could improve on, and what I could add to my gameplay. And over time I've gotten more and more comfortable with the rest of Jamie's kit. You always want more options in matches. By doing this, I baby-stepped my way out of Iron Rank to Platinum with Jamie pretty easily. With a hint of, I fucking refuse to believe I can't play this game! Stubbornness. Or I could have just not done any of that and started with Modern. Why didn't I do that? Because wherever I go and whatever I do, I'm a fucking snowflake. When I did give it a go just to see how it felt, it took a lot out of the actual fighting for me, and I hated that, so it's not for me. You might look at all of that and think that's a lot of work to enjoy a game, but it's all just learning a new hobby. The process, though it may have its frustrations, should also be enjoyable as you get better and better and get to the end result you want. Early on, Modern was considered a bit scrubby by the general community, from what I've observed, due to, well, what it does. It assists you by removing the motion parts, making reactions a lot easier, and when you're dead set on not playing Modern yourself and learning Classic, it did feel like absolute bullshit to go against as a newbie. It felt like someone just flipped from noob to, hey, I've played this game for 5 years, and I'm gonna shit on you for 4 rounds. Enjoy. Basically what happened when I started on launch and only played versus with a friend. Yet realistically, whenever I meet a modern player nowadays, the only 2 things I'm putting my mind on, depending on the character, they have amazing anti-airing. Can Dragon Punch being like 1 button as an example. They can react with supers a lot easier, in case I drive rush in or DI them in the corner. These 2 options are really strong, but most of the time throughout the match it becomes clear that as much as the people have these options available to them, they still aren't in the spot to use them skill-wise. And in the end, the modern option is only aiding them to do their combos if they land a button. I think it's probably the better and less stressful way of starting Street Fighter. I endorse modern for new players, but I hope it doesn't make them stagnate on the learning front. There are generally 2 normal throws, not counting Zangief who has like 7, and not counting air throws. Forward throw and backwards throw. Why am I bringing this up? Because throws are common, and the most consistent way of doing damage in the lower ranks. I suppose it's because rather than just holding back, you do have to react with 2 buttons in a small window, making it quite hard to do for inexperienced players, who don't yet know the situations where a throw is likely to happen. Oh, and don't get me started on drive rush grabs. Holy moly. Though, generally that is dependent on how good their drive rush is. You don't have to see Manon's trying to drive rush throw you, since hers isn't very good. Not all throws are created equal. Let's say, if I could keep track of who gets the most throws on me in ranked, I imagine Ken would be at the top. Because their throw is amazing and keeps you close afterwards, so you can loop it pretty easily without the corner. And their drive rush is pretty good as well. I can lose 60% of my health just to throws against a Ken in a single round. And it would not surprise me. I'm shit at countering them. If you see Mr. Nixel in ranked, just know that if you have ways to set up a throw, you'll land them 7 out of 10 times. The higher you go, the more common it becomes, I hear. People simply do the 1 match, then quit, regardless of winning or losing. If you're someone who relies on gimmicks, this is excellent, because you can simply gimmick the opponent for 2 rounds, and at that point they probably have figured you out, but BAM! You leave with your winnings. A lot of long-time players tend to say that the best of 3 isn't long enough to figure the opponent out, or get comfortable with the matchup, which is why they prefer best of 5, and I agree, simply because of people who bail after 1 match. Now why do they bail? There could be multiple reasons. Your cat's on fire, mom came into the room, I don't want to face against you, you're annoying, I don't like facing Jamies, I'm only climbing, I don't want to learn anything, I'm doing this 1 gimmick and if you learn it then you will beat me 100% every time, I'm not here to adapt, my ego is frail so I don't want to give you a chance to win, or I don't want to lose again, the connection is one-sidedly shit. And I've had that. It's very annoying because the opponent might not understand why you're leaving, so... Now you can play however you want, and no one's going to stop you. Do what you enjoy. However, it does make you look like a bit of a wuss if you bail a best of 3. Mr. Bitcoin himself.
I'm broke as shit.
Let's get the 2 obvious problems out of the way. Dragon Lash. Crazy kicks. They're annoying. You can learn how to deal with them. What really makes Ken a problem is his buttons are really good. And thanks to that, if he gets you into the corner, it can feel really one-sided. And honestly, the worst to deal with the crouching medium. It doesn't look like much, but it's really, really good. And of course, Ken's jumping light kick. You're gonna be loving this button if you're never contesting anything.
Hey there, everybody. This is Ryu from Streets.
He likes eating sand. I think that's his lore. Ryu is probably the gold medal holder for the Olympics, since a lot of them love to use it to make unsafe attacks safe. Nothing else really comes to mind. He's quite unmemorable.
The Gimmick Overlord!
If you ever watch a professional match with a Kami in it, you think that the character doesn't even have hooligan combination. Yet at lower ranks, that's all they seem to do. That is of course because for a new inexperienced player, it's hard to deal with, even though the answer is simply don't fucking let him. Now once you get past the hooligan spiral arrow wall, you get the Kamis who are the definition of in your face. It's also pretty hard to deal with and doesn't always have a straight up answer, so these type of Kamis were and still are my bane. Oh, and also her DI startup looks the same as her spin knuckle. Yuri is a lot like Kami after the gimmicks, but I'd say much tamer. They don't tend to just slam your face, but build a stack of their whatever thing before they start poking you with their good buttons, until you fuck up a block, and then you get drive rushed to death. I think some people have the right idea with this. Yuri's drive rush is above average at worst, and you should definitely be doing drive rush cancels. However, I feel a lot of the Yuris seem to finish their flowchart combos regardless of if the opponent manages to block or not. Drive rush cancels cost 3 bars, and when the opponent blocks all of it, it's immensely wasteful and brings you really close to burnout. Burnout can be a whatever burger at times, but when the opponent knows ways to take advantage of it, it's really shit to be in burnout.
Poster boy!
Though I struggle to find something worthwhile to say about him, and his matchup. Honestly, to me, playing against Luke feels like playing against a Ken or a Ryu, but less nimble. Like he's a tractor compared to a motorcycle. Yes, that's because they're all supposed to be the same archetype. I fucking love this guy.
That makes sense.
I am your big daddy, and I am gonna kiss you. Daddy's here for you, my little angels, my little angels.
Like I said, I fucking love Zangief. But when I started off, I had no idea how to deal with a grappler, so it was fucking scary. Should I go near him? No, maybe, I don't know. How do I deal with this? Well, the secret sauce is actually just play more. You just have to play more. Then you'll understand when you can go in and when you have to go out. And after playing for a bit, it becomes quite clear that Zangief's climb by relying on gimmicks. because they become immensely predictable and rarely get to land any crabs. In fact, the scariest Zangiefs I've met literally just walk you down without using any command grabs and just slap you down with normals, while the fear of said command grabs looms over you. So yeah, I like playing against Zangief. Shame there aren't that many of them though. Chun-Li's buttons are pretty good, but not extraordinary. But she does have a few gimmicks the players like to hammer at you until you learn to counter them. One, they tend to try to steal back their turn by doing this air flip thing on wake up to confuse your blocking. Second, they like if you're paying attention with Hasanshu, which is probably the main gimmick, since it's something you must block standing up and it's not easy for a beginner to react to, unless they're constantly looking for it. Other than that, you'll probably see most Chuns back up to charge their fireball, which I find odd since it should be simpler to crouch and hold back to do that like Guile does. Right? I don't know, I don't play her. Acute kidney injury! Also known as Aki. The lady who made everyone say, I can fix her, I can fix her. So what's there to say about her? Her fireball game isn't that good, but since the poison bubble moves so slowly, it occupies the space between you and her for longer, making it harder to approach. And when you do approach with a parry, they drive rush in and usually throw you. If you jump, that's what they really want, because their heavy kick is a good anti-air and a combo starter. Very in and out at times, but usually they love to play the keep away. I would like it if I could lab against her without spending money.
Marisa.
Muscle Bob!
First thing is, I am not cutting my hair.
Marisa can be frustrating, and the fact that she can break armor while also having a lot of armored moves is not something you face each match. Oh shit! So you have to suppress some of your usual habits. But the most frustrating part about Marisa isn't the plus frames or the armor, it's simply the damage she can do. It usually takes 3 or 4 connects to get wasted by her and her gladiators or combos. She's no god, but making mistakes when fighting her just leaves you feeling dead inside. A ballerina, judokai, fashion model. One thing that really stays with you when you're playing against a Manon at my level is that they love the D-E-G.
Dégagez. Dégagez.
Oh.
Dégagez.
They love the
Dégagez.
series of special moves, especially the light and heavy version. They need to be blocked either by crouching or standing, so it's a guessing game, and it's hard to react to due to the startup speed, though if you can block it, you can punish them pretty easily. Outside of that, Manons rarely go for the combo plays, and just try to set up a command throw, which of course hits hard, but it's easy to avoid. But those who do go for the proper footsies and combos are usually the scary ones, since they don't rely on just knocking you down and grabbing to do the damage. Jamie! My current main character. Overall, I feel Jamie is okay. His buttons are pretty good. His combos can get really fancy, and when he's set up with at least 2 drinks, his damage gets very nice with Bakai. The drink system is awesome, and also shit at the same time. It's shit because it makes you exchange damage for drink levels, while already doing less damage. So it can feel like you've done no damage even though you've hit the opponent multiple times. Games are often decided before you get anywhere with drinks, is the sad reality. So what's good about the drinks? I love powering up. Who doesn't love powering up? Also, the option to take raw drinks is a huge "oh shit, I need to stop that" for the opponent. It just makes me smile horribly when someone starts backing away assuming I'd follow them, and I just start drinking instead. They usually beeline and try to interrupt the drinks, but it's too late. The damage is done. If there's any gimmicks I can think of, then the only one I know of is using OD Palm at the very start of the match to try and catch the opponent off guard, which then enables you to get 2 drinks against most opponents. And I abuse that to an uncomfortable stage before getting punished. I've not played against that many Jamies, but what I can tell is they love their sweeps. And I'm no different. I love the sweep. It's blessed. That and the standing heavy punch is fucking amazing as well, since it's faster than most of the heavy punches and moves you forward a lot. Like a lot.
JP.
If there were any more JPs, he would definitely be the DI Olympic gold medalist. And the only other gimmick I can think of is them doing command grab on down people so they get caught on wake up. Other than that, it's just normal gaming. DJ players don't seem to have a general go-to thing they tend to do. Some abuse the sway over and over again, some just do the long-reaching normals over and over again, and some try to land machine gun blows at all costs. Often the match seems to center around something specific, but when you do meet a DJ who has expanded their kit, you'll probably feel like he just doesn't stop taking his turn back.
Make way for the Ninja Star!
All I can say is they either gimmick their way through life with raw slides and back heavy kick lunges, or they just clearly outplay you with really offensive but proper rushdown. King of Keep Away. Guile is probably the first character that really hammers in that patience is a good tactic in some situations, since they just bunker down and throw discs at you, then flash kick any jump ins. Being an all-rounder character, it also means he can play the footsies properly as well. So really you will mostly meet the bunker down and fireball gamers. But when you do meet one of those who doesn't just do that, you'll probably be too used to the fireball game and lose to actual footsies, because you'll see attacks you've never seen before. It's Rashiding time! Or something, I don't know what he says. There's been a slight uptick on Rashids recently, going from never seeing them to consistently seeing them. I have absolutely no idea how this guy plays, but all I can say is, guy speedy, guy steal turn, guy jump everywhere, guy charge up tornado, guy definitely charge up tornado, guy spends most of the game doing that in fact.
Honda.
Surprisingly few Hondas. And you know what? I'm glad he's a bitch! I fully understand that if I simply know how to deal with headbutt and butt slam, I've essentially neutered most of what makes him annoying.
But boy is he fucking annoying! Ah!
Just look at this guy. Look at this shit-eating grin. Fuck you. Do you not like learning? Is that what I'm hearing? No, the game's hard. Fuck you.
Lily.
Barely ever meet any of them. And that's shit, because I'd rather play against them than try and lab in case I ever meet one. So you watched all this shite expecting to learn something special? Maybe you did. but I doubt it since any of the veteran YouTuber guides and yours truly will tell you the same thing. Learn footsies, learn your combos, learn your anti-air, learn your matchup. Learn the fundamentals essentially. Play the game. Play more. Yet, if I can, may I suggest something to lean mostly towards on your own climbing journey? Something I at Platinum rank find immensely devastating when meeting someone who can do this even 3 out of 5 times. Become a god of anti-airing. The power of shutting down someone's offense from a jump in, or being able to interrupt someone from jumping over you and stealing a turn at close range, is immense. And if you can make that into a habit, I guarantee you'll fly past the early ranks. It doesn't need to lead into any immense damage. It can just be a single button, or jumping air to air. As long as it means the opponent can't keep on going, or starts to second guess doing any jump-ins, you've done a lot of damage, even if it doesn't reflect on the health bar. Oh, and use less DI. Some matches feel like I don't need to do anything to win because the opponent gets impatient and DIs, or just uses it by habit after some specific attacks and then I DI back. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Like or dislike, sub to support the ramble. Doodles!